As a police officer, you never know what each day will bring. One moment you're chatting with your colleagues, and the next, you're facing down armed robbers. And thanks to their body cams, even normal people, or shall I say, muggles, can also take a first-hand look at what happens during these intense moments.
Heard like 7 shots. Bam, 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 bam.
Faint hearts can step aside, and those who can take it, get your seatbelts on as we take you along one of the craziest moments caught on Police Bodycam. Number 1. Murder in progress. You know, there are some moments in life where you are doing one thing and then life throws a big fat slap? Well, this is what happened on April 19, 2018, late in the morning when a Baltimore police officer was handling a landlord-tenant dispute on the 1700 block of North Regester Street in the Broadway East neighborhood. Just doing what he's paid to do. But in a matter of seconds, a spray of gunfire erupted just half a block away. With his body camera activated, the officer immediately ran toward the chaos. As the gunshots faded and a woman's scream pierced the air, the officer spotted the suspect emerging onto Lafayette Street. He quickly rounded the corner, pointed his gun, and shouted. The suspect complied, rolling over onto the ground, and was taken into custody. The officer then radioed in what he described as an on-view shooting, identifying the suspect as the shooter. The suspect, 17-year-old Eric Gilliard, claimed he was simply heading to North Avenue when he heard the gunshots and ran. If you're wondering what happened next, Gilliard was charged with the murder of 29-year-old Walter Baines and the attempted murder of Baines's grandfather. His attorney, Tony Garcia, argued that the body camera footage wasn't conclusive, noting that the video merely shows someone running, which isn't abnormal. Garcia emphasized that the officer's assertion that Gilliard had a gun wasn't enough to prove guilt without more substantial evidence. According to charging documents, police recovered a 9mm handgun from Gilliard's waistband after searching him in the squad car. The magazine was empty, and 14 of the 23 shell casings found at the scene matched Gilliard's weapon. Number 2. Orlando shooting. Things got tense at the Heritage Hotel in Orlando, Florida. Let me explain. An armed man suspected of shooting 2 individuals at the Heritage Hotel was shot by deputies after refusing to drop his weapon, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Deputies were called to the Heritage Hotel, located at 7900 South Orange Blossom Trail, following reports of a shooting. Under Sheriff Mark Canty explained that upon arrival, officers found one person who had been shot. While assisting that individual, deputies encountered another man armed with a gun. Despite being ordered to drop his weapon, the man refused, prompting a deputy to shoot him. Further investigation revealed that a second person had been shot before deputies arrived on the scene.
Heard like 7 shots. Bam, 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 bam.
All 3 men were taken to the hospital, where 2 were later pronounced dead. The victims included the initial individual encountered by deputies and the suspect who was shot by law enforcement. The third man was severely injured and was hospitalized. Under Sheriff Canty emphasized the danger posed by the armed suspect, stating, "Anytime someone pulls a gun and indiscriminately starts shooting at other people, the entire community is at threat." Our deputies responded quickly, putting themselves between innocent civilians and a bad guy. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement led the investigation, and the deputy involved was placed on paid administrative leave. Number 3. El Paso shooting. It was early Tuesday morning at a self-serve car wash in El Paso's Upper Valley. An officer stopped to check on a man inside a vehicle around 1 a.m., but things quickly took a serious turn. Keep watching to find out what happened next at 5830 Donovan Drive. So, a man was shot and killed by an El Paso police officer at a car wash in the Upper Valley, according to police spokesperson Officer Adrian Cisneros. The incident happened, as you guys know, at around 1 a.m. on Tuesday, March 5th.
3 Lincoln 40. How you doing, man? You good? Your car broke down?
Yeah.
It was when an officer checked on a man inside a vehicle at a self-serve car wash at 5830 Doniphan Drive. Investigators are still working to understand what led to the officer shooting the man, who was about 30 years old.
Back up, bro.
Why do I need to back up?
You need to back up right now.
Why?
You need to back the fuck up.
Why, dude?
Back
Hey,
up, dog.
relax.
Please back up.
Relax, dude.
The officer, who has been with the El Paso Police Department for 13 years and is assigned to the West Side Regional Command, remains unnamed as the investigation continues. 20th, a homeless man trespassing in an empty West Side home was shot and injured after allegedly throwing a rock at officers during a struggle. He has since been released from the hospital and booked on charges of aggravated assault and other offenses. Number 4, jury evidence. As shown in the body cam footage released, the shooting by Oregon State Police was deemed justified by a grand jury. The footage is part of a series of evidence that was reviewed, which also included testimony from 12 witnesses,
North, he's got a gun. Get on the ground now! Hey!
autopsy results, and various videos and photographs from the scene. In the video, you can see the police struggling to maintain her footing, with the situation quickly escalating despite the efforts of assistants trying to intervene. The chaos and intensity captured in the footage provide a clearer picture of the challenging circumstances faced by everyone involved.
2040, he's still moving, he's on the ground, across the creek. I was hit by something.
Number 5, Columbus Sergeant. As you can see in the body camera footage released by the Columbus Division of Police, the situation quickly escalated. The footage starts with the police trying to stop a Toyota Corolla that was reported stolen out of Lancaster. Initially, they followed the vehicle, but decided to back off after a short chase. About 30 minutes later, the scene shifts to the parking lot of the Sheets gas station on East Dublin Granville Ard, where officers spotted the Corolla again. The plan was to deploy stop sticks to prevent the car from fleeing, but things took a turn when the vehicle headed into the Huntley Square shopping center and began driving erratically. The officers managed to seal off all the exits of the plaza, effectively trapping the vehicle. Number 6, movie shooting. This body cam footage is almost like watching a James Bond movie. Columbus Police released multiple body-worn camera videos that captured officers responding to shootings in the Short North area of Columbus. According to the details, there was so much going on that the police were able to get back with the number of casualties after 60 hours. A total of 10 people were shot across 2 separate scenes. And what's really sad is that all shooting victims were between the ages of 18 and 27. Not to mention it was reported that about 11 guns were recovered from the shooting scenes. Number 7, dog shot. Well, everyone who loves animals should stay away from the next clip, but just a disclaimer, sometimes you really have to think and respond quickly. Kudos to the police officer for being so quick. He probably saved his life and his colleagues too. As it shows, the body camera footage from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department captures the events leading up to the fatal shooting of a pit bull on July 27th. This is what went down. Officers were dispatched to the 2200 block of Cascade Street near Sahara Avenue and Nellis Boulevard. As officers approached a residence to speak to a resident, a pit bull appeared and charged at them. I mean, what can you possibly do at a moment like this? The footage shows officers attempting to use a dog pole to collar the dog, but when it continued to charge, a second officer fired several shots, striking and killing the pit bull. Number 8, Wisconsin cops killed.
He's got a rifle. He's got a rifle. Shots fired! Shots fired!
Some body cam footage can really catch you off guard. Just take a look at this one, for example. The Wisconsin Department of Justice has released this body cam footage capturing a deadly shootout between police officers and a man during a traffic stop. From the details that we know, officers had pulled over 50-year-old Glenn Douglas Perry for an outstanding warrant related to unpaid child support. As officers approached his vehicle, Perry, known to authorities as potentially dangerous, opened fire with a rifle, escalating the situation. The bodycam video shows the chaotic exchange of gunfire that ensued. Police officers returned fire as Perry shot at them, leading to a tragic outcome. Chetek police officer Emily Breidenbach, 32, and Cameron police officer Hunter Shield, 23, were both struck and killed in the shootout. Perry was also hit during the incident and succumbed to his injuries later at a hospital. Number 9. All guns out. This happened on the evening of July 20th, 2022, when a Humboldt County Sheriff's Field training officer and a rookie deputy were on patrol near Fairway Drive in Eureka, California. At around 7:20 p.m., they spotted a white 2003 Kia Sorento driving recklessly at about 65 miles per hour. They tried to pull it over. But the driver, 27-year-old Derek Miles McCown, had other plans and took off, prompting the deputies to give chase. As it turns out, the Kia had just been involved in a brief pursuit with the Eureka Police Department before these deputies got involved.
Get down! Get down!
This Tom and Jerry chase continued down Vance Avenue from Herrick Avenue, with speeds hitting 50 miles per hour. Which isn't that much, but when the adrenaline is running high, even this feels like the end of the world. But things took a dangerous turn at the intersection of Vance and Eureka Streets. The front passenger, 32-year-old Jared Eli Aubrey, leaned out of the window and fired several shots from a rifle at the pursuing deputies. They didn't return fire, but a bullet from Aubrey's rifle ended up in a nearby home. Thankfully, no one inside was hurt. All of this continued for another 1.7 miles through the Pine Hill community into the city of Eureka. Near the intersection of Eutaw Street and Highland Avenue, Aubrey leaned out again and aimed his rifle at the deputies. The field training officer responded this time, firing 4 shots through his patrol vehicle's windshield. The pursuit rolled onto Henderson Street, where McKeown started driving the wrong way. They zipped down to O Street and Boone Street with no more shots fired. At the intersection of Boone Street and Harrison Avenue, the Kia crashed into another car with a civilian inside, leaving the Kia disabled. Aubrey, McKeown, and a third passenger were detained at the crash site. Aubrey and McCown were arrested and booked into the Humboldt County Correctional Facility. Both McCown and the civilian in the other car sustained injuries in the crash. Apparently, when investigators looked over the patrol vehicle, they found it had been hit multiple times. Evidence suggested that Aubrey had been shooting from an AK-47 style assault rifle, which he still had on him when they took him into custody. Number 10. Shooting. This footage that you see on your screen is from July 11, 2018, during a vehicle pursuit that ended at Ogden Avenue and 18th Street. The incident took place at around 7:24 a.m. when patrol officers responded to an attempted murder report. The victim had been shot multiple times, and the 2 suspects fled in an early 2000 Ford Expedition. At approximately 9:30 a.m., officers located the suspect vehicle near Constantine and Cooper. As the pursuit unfolded, both suspects fired 34 shots at police, striking several marked patrol cars. Officers William O'Mana and Paul Solomon returned fire 32 times during the pursuit and at the final location. The suspects, identified as 23-year-old Fidel Miranda and 30-year-old Rene Nunez, were apprehended at the scene. Miranda was pronounced dead by medical personnel, while Nunez, suffering from a gunshot wound, received medical treatment before being taken into custody. Number 11. Nicholas Cowan. Phoenix police have released body camera footage that captured the events of April 14th, when Nicholas Cowan allegedly shot a Phoenix police officer. So here is what happened. Around 10:30 a.m., two officers were speaking with Cowan's then-girlfriend, who expressed concern that Cowan was suicidal and might react violently if police showed up. She had slept in her car after an argument with Cowan and feared he would provoke a confrontation with the police, telling the 911 operator to send an ambulance. The officers met the woman at a gas station near Cave Creek and Beardsley Roads. During their conversation, a blue Toyota Prius, identified by the woman as Cowan's car, pulled into the parking lot. When the officers approached the vehicle and asked the driver to step out, Cowan rolled down the window and began shooting, striking one officer in the hip. The wounded officer waited for several minutes for paramedics to arrive. The second officer returned fire, appearing to empty his magazine and reload. From what we know, Cowan fled the scene in the blue Prius, prompting a multi-day manhunt. He was eventually apprehended on April 17th at an apartment complex near 66th Street and Osborne Road around 4:30 p.m. After receiving medical treatment, he was booked on charges, including 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, drive-by shooting, and weapons misconduct. Police also arrested Caroline Costa, Michael Hankins, and Nicole Montalbano for allegedly aiding Cowan in evading capture. Number 12. Bodies found. Okay, so until now, we've seen robberies and some murder attempts. Now, we have something that will make you scream at your screen. This body camera footage was released on March 10th, 2023, that shows the exact moment that Akron police officers discovered the bodies of 3 men who were bound, gagged, and shot in the head. Yes, that sounds, horrific. This scene made the detectives speak with neighbors in hopes of gathering clues about the killings. One neighbor, captured in the footage, expressed shock, stating, "It's upsetting, it's gross." And yes, sir, it is. In case you guys are curious, subsequent investigations led police to identify 58-year-old Elias Gudino as the suspected killer. He was charged with aggravated murder and attempted aggravated murder. Number 13, Fountain City shooting. This one is graphic, so make sure you don't have anyone around that has a faint heart. The Knoxville Police Department released this body camera footage showing the moment Officer Seth Beeler shot and killed William McBride Jr. at an Exxon gas station in Fountain City. So as you go about your day, responding to reports of a disturbance around 5:30 p.m., Beeler arrived at the gas station and was informed that McBride was acting erratically and potentially violently inside the store. You can see the guy has got a knife out. As he did that, Beeler drew his firearm and opened the store door, where McBride stood near the entryway. Beeler stepped back and issued commands, saying, Come out right now, get down on your knees." However, McBride quickly exited the store with 2 knives in hand and lunged toward the individual in the green hoodie. Beeler fired 2 shots, causing McBride to collapse to the ground. Keeping his gun trained on McBride, Beeler commanded him to crawl out from under a nearby SUV.
"Hey, crawl out to me, okay? Get out from under this car."
38 Bravo, 15th Street on the ground.
That far.
McBride groaned and breathed heavily before Beeler finally handcuffed him as other officers arrived. And yes, both knives were recovered from the scene. Number 14. What? This one is really something that happens once in a blue moon. The body camera footage from April 8th shows Tommy Aston Battle trying to play dumb after running away from Georgia police. The Coweta County Sheriff's Office said Battle had 2 warrants out for his arrest. He ditched his car and ran into a grocery store, where he pretended not to be the guy they were after, saying he was just using the bathroom. But his act didn't fool the officers, and they arrested him on multiple charges, including driving with a suspended license, no valid tag, and fleeing to elude police. The footage shows his failed attempt to deceive the deputies and escape arrest. Number 15, tit for tat. You won't believe what went down in Sparks on March 29, 2024. So the clock was at around 1:39 p.m. A Sparks police officer tried to pull over a Ford Expedition without license plates on Greenbrae Drive. But as the officer walked up to the driver's side window, the driver, Anthony Wade, pulled out a handgun and fired through the window, injuring the officer's shoulder. Wade then bolted, crashing his car into another vehicle at the intersection of Greenbrae Drive and Rock Boulevard before ditching the car and running away on foot. And yes, because news travels faster than light in the age of the internet. The reports quickly surfaced about a suspect jumping fences in the nearby 1,400 blocks of Greenbrae Drive and Prospect Avenue. Officers from Sparks Police, Reno Police, and the Washoe County Sheriff's Office started a coordinated search on foot. They soon found out that Wade had broken into one house, but was chased out by the homeowner. He then broke into a second home where an elderly woman answered the door. Moments later, Wade fired at officers from inside the house, striking a Washoe County deputy.
He's shooting at us deep.
The deputy and the elderly woman were evacuated while under fire. In the middle of all this chaos, a second Sparks police officer was also shot, but managed to escape. Wade then broke into another nearby house where an elderly woman was hiding from him while he wandered around. He went into the backyard and started firing at nearby officers. They managed to rescue the woman from her home while Wade stayed barricaded inside. SWAT teams and negotiators tried to talk Wade into surrendering, but he kept firing shots. And after some time, it had to be done, so the officers entered the house and found Wade dead. He was identified as 34-year-old Anthony Wade, armed with a .40 caliber semi-automatic handgun and an extended magazine. The two Sparks police officers and the Washoe County deputy who were injured in the incident were treated and released. Number 16, 40 robberies. Okay, so I don't know how it goes down, but there would be very few robbers who would commit 40 robberies in a row. This footage is from the Dallas Police Department when they dismantled 4 robbery crews suspected of being responsible for over 40 business robberies throughout the city. Their most recent success came this week after a robbery at a cell phone store on East Ledbetter Drive on Tuesday morning. Officers swiftly pursued the suspects and apprehended them after a brief chase. The body and dash camera footage captured the officers responding promptly to the robbery call. Maybelline Sosa, an employee at the cell phone store, described how the suspects initially entered the store, claiming they needed to charge their phones. At the time, there were only 2 employees present, and one had just left for lunch. The robbers took advantage of the situation, forcing the remaining employees to open a safe in the back of the store.
Get on the ground! Don't move!
As officers arrived at the scene, the suspects stole one of the employees' cars and sped away in reverse. But the police were able to catch them after a brief chase. I mean, you can really see who the boss is here. And that's a wrap on the craziest moments caught on Police Bodycam. From chasing down reckless drivers to navigating chaotic shootouts, you can see how unpredictable a day on the job can be for law enforcement. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe for more wild and jaw-dropping moments captured on Police Bodycams. Let me know in the comments which moment shocked you the most? For me, it's just the fact that you never know what's going to happen. Stay tuned for more incredible footage, and remember, keep your seatbelt on, because the next crazy moment could be just around the corner.